Hey everyone, and welcome to Cary's Garage. And on this episode, we're going to do part 3 of Memory Lane. Check out some more cars of my past. So on this episode, we're going to finally see when I started departing out from the Volkswagen world. I bought a couple of more Volkswagen buses, one of which I really did enjoy. I drove quite a bit. And then I bought another vehicle that was quite a bit different than any of the old air-cooled Volkswagens I had, and definitely started kind of that departure for me. So the first one we're going to start off with is a 71 Volkswagen bus. It was a passenger bus with a factory sunroof. The sunroof never actually really worked on it. I got it to slide open and close, but the cables and the winder mechanism was all messed up on it, and some of that stuff at that time was kind of hard to find. So I only have one picture of it, and that's this picture right here, which was actually down at my friend's yard I used to store it at before I bought my shop. I think I paid $600 or $700 for this thing. It did run and drive, but had a lot of electrical problems, and the nose had some Bondo in it. It was kind of messed up, but it was a really cool bus, and the kind of price I paid for this thing, I mean, you couldn't find a bus like that these days. It just wouldn't be possible. So I had it for a little while, and I ended up, I think I sold it to a guy locally when I had too many buses at that point. I just needed to get rid of some stuff. But it was a cool bus. I did really like having it. But the next one was kind of a special bus. I bought this one from a friend of mine locally who had it, and it was very unique. It was a Martin Walter Dormobile camper conversion out of England. So it had a very unique interior. It had a pop top that went sideways. It had two cots up top. It was a cool bus. I drove it all over the place. It was fully equipped. It had a really neat sink, an ice box. It had a stove behind the passenger seat. Again, this was still the era that I had a hard drive that crashed, so I only have a couple pictures of it. Somewhere I have a picture of the stove, how it folds. You fold up the seat and the stove comes up, and it's got this little tray, a little broiler underneath it. It was really cool. Drove this one to a lot of different states. Went to a bunch of Volkswagen shows over the years with this bus. It was a really neat one. The Westie I had was cool, but it was a tin top, so it didn't have a pop top. So this one having that opening roof really made it nice, especially when you're trying to put some clothes on in the morning. Actually, I traded this one for a bus that's going to be in the next episode. I did end up with a couple of other Volkswagens when I started transitioning out of Volkswagens, but that'll be on part 4. And then the transition out of starting out of Volkswagens was this vehicle that I picked up when I was 17, 18 years old, I think. Got it locally from a dealer in town. It was actually the first vehicle I bought from a dealer. It was only a couple $1,000s. This was a 1984 Chevy K5 Blazer, but it was a military spec, so it was actually a CUCV M1009 with a 6.2 liter diesel, turbo 400 automatic, 24 volt electrical system for the starter. The other half of the truck was 12 volts. This really weird system that I know a lot of people convert, but I kept it all original, and it ran great. I actually ran it on vegetable oil for a while. It's kind of that time point. I was trying to do the veggie oil stuff. I had a light bar on it that I bought from a local, some military or surplus place. I had it on there for a while. I towed with it a bit. With the 308 gears being a half ton, it didn't really tow all that great. Actually, kind of towed like my Suburban, but it was a cool rig. I really did enjoy having the Blazer. It was a fun one. I took it off roading a bunch of times with my friends, and it was amazing how capable it was. It really did well. This actually started my love of old GM N8 diesels, the 6.2, 6.5s. I've had several of them. I had a 6.5 turbo diesel that we'll cover in an episode that's way in the future, a few years back. But having a vehicle with good heat that could actually mostly do highway speed. I mean, this one would do 70, 75 without a problem whatsoever, hold it pretty well. And it got really great fuel mileage, actually. I got low 20s in this fairly regularly. Having the turbo 400, the 308 gears, and decent tires on it, it did great. It was a fun truck. But that's pretty much all for this episode. Next one is when we start really departing out, still with some air cooled. This is when I started getting into Corvairs, and we'll start to touch on that base. And I had a lot of Corvairs that I ended up buying. I found a ton locally, and several of the ones that I absolutely fell in love with and daily drove for a while. So we'll definitely touch base on those on the next round. And thanks so much for watching. Thanks for checking out cars from my past. Like I say, I've had a lot, so it's some kind of interesting to see the progression. But see you guys next time, and have a good one.